How you living, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Happy to have you back. It's been a fun week.
To be back.
I've
Good to be
missed
back.
you. But I know you were down frolicking in the sun, making you question, the difficulties of
The purpose
certain
of
climates.
life, I think.
And look at this. Look at this. As we look,
at this.
as we look to our right, look
Yes.
at this.
Murph's
it's Murph.
coming.
It's Murph.
And-
He's gonna come. We're
And the quarterback's going to
gonna start the show off with a bang.
That's right.
We're gonna start the show off with a bang.
Let's. So Joe Flacco walking into the studio right now.
That's right.
And he will walk in, and we'll get this thing underway. And Murph has brought him in.
I mean,
Gibby is
elite.
welcoming. A big handshake from Gibby.
Oh yeah.
Big
Oh, yeah.
handshake from Gibby.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Flacco steps into the studio, and we get a half embrace out of Zagura that turned into a full. Mr. Flacco, good to see you, sir. Good to see you.
Yep.
Right here, sir.
Right
Come
over
on
there,
down.
The prime time
There we
seat.
go. There
Look
you
at
go.
him.
Come on down. Nice to see you. Come on
Gliding
in.
like a gazelle through the studio.
Really grace.
Yeah, a lot of grace.
A lot of elegance in that walk-in. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
I'm doing well. This is the 52-week, all year round, 1 to 3 every day.
That's right.
You guys are killing
He
it,
knows
huh?
Cleveland Browns Daily. Come
World
on.
show. It's the world show. That's right.
Yeah.
I was saying, is it always football, or you guys like turn it into a podcast here? You just start talking about whatever you want?
Football is the umbrella.
That's right.
And then under that umbrella, we can go in a great many directions.
At times, it's like Seinfeld, a show about nothing.
Yeah.
A lot of times the show is the show. It's just kind of what we hope
show
for.
is the show.
What is this? What has this meant for you to have your kids see this at their age? Because a lot of your other greatn's, they either weren't around or they were real little.
He was having to pull up YouTube highlights.
I
They were
bet,
giving
yeah.
him grief.
I never really thought about it until the last couple of years when they've grown. When you were young, you were having kids to have kids, and that's what you wanted, and you didn't really think about them watching you play football. But then the last couple of years, like watching them get to the age where they understood what was going on. My boys came to a game at MetLife against the Dolphins. Elijah Moore went off that day.
His 100-yard game?
Yeah, he had a touchdown. He shook his butt in the end zone. Whatever dance he did, my kids were hooked from that game on, and they were huge Elijah Moore fans. And it just reminded me of being a kid and like how easily this game can kind of hook you and bring you in. And it was probably right around that point where I started thinking, man, I missed out. Like, it would have been unbelievable to play, like really play when these guys are at the age they are. So to have this opportunity has been incredible. Yeah.
I've had so many guys we talk to who retire, and look, we're all in a different timeline now. With you're younger than Z and I, but in a vicinity. And one of the things is we're all waiting later to get married and have children later. That's the more common path. And so talk a lot of guys who retired from the league, even the Hoff, Laurinaitis guys I know really well, and they're like, man, my kids never really get to see me play.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I remember Matt Stover when early on in my career. He was up there. He's a kicker. Obviously, it's like he played here.
Yeah,
I mean, he did both. He went Browns to Ravens, and he had like teenage kids when he was walking out of the stadium. And I do remember that, but it's not very often you see.
No.
Lardarius Webb had a kid. His son's in college now,
Wow.
and his son was. He was young when he was playing, but like he was around the locker room a lot, and it was cool. Anquan's son was a decent of enough age to kind of be around the locker room and stuff like that, which was cool. It's always cool to see the kids and just let them all take it in,
Yeah.
It's awesome. And for people who have not yet watched, you got to watch Sideline to Sideline this week. I don't know if you've got a chance to see it. It's a kind of a 13-minute video that our content team, shout out to Lily, Connor, and Noah, or Lily, Ricky, and Noah, who did a great job with it. But they feature a lot. You're mic'd up and get a little more excited than I think people maybe would have thought.
Man.
Joe Flacco gets out there on the sideline.
I kind of lost track of the fact that I was mic'd up.
That's good. It's natural.
Yeah.
That's why it's good.
I know. You always lose track. You try to warn guys before the game, like, hey, just so you know, I'm mic'd up. But everybody forgets.
Yeah.
You just start going out there and doing your thing.
Especially in that moment. You mentioned Elijah earlier, so I wanted to kind of bring this up. When you threw the touchdown pass to Elijah, your reaction to that was, it felt like to me more than just we scored a touchdown. I could tell how much you wanted that for Elijah. You knew how much that meant to him. I thought that was a pretty special moment. So you had that great moment, then you have the scariness of what happened after that, and thank goodness he's doing great.
Yeah.
But why did that one mean so much to you? Because clearly you guys have a bond. Maybe you knew your kids were there, and you're like, Dad threw it to Elijah. They're going to love that. I don't know. It was great though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I have an answer for you. It was just, I think it was just natural. I mean, it wasn't really anything to, now it's funny that you bring that up. It wasn't like, oh, we're playing the Jets. It had anything to do with that. I think when you're playing well and the team's rolling, you want everybody to be a part of it. So to have him really step up when he had the opportunity to like be a big part of it, I think that's cool. It's cool to see that happen.
When did you? One of the things we've said on the program here, and from our vantage point, it feels like you and Kevin see the game, and AVP as well. You see the game very similarly, in terms of the calls that are being made, the way that you're processing the calls, the plays that are made on the field. When you went through the process of, all right, I'm going to play again, Browns fit, all of that stuff. What were those conversations like, and how accurate is that in terms of the way both you and Kevin see the game? Yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, I don't think about that stuff too much. I'm just trying to like run the game, do the game plan and the best I can. And obviously there were some conversations early on, like, hey, kind of go through the offense, see what you like, but it's not like I'm making stuff up and drawing pictures and giving them to him. Like, hey, this is what I've done in the past. Like, I'm picking stuff that we do. I was excited about just the opportunity to get to work with him. I mean, you see him from afar, and he was with Gary in Minnesota for a couple years. So he was with Norv Turner, who I think not that I was with Norv, but I've done things similar to the way Norv did them.
Throw it down the field.
So
baby.
It's like it's not something that I've actively thought about, but I trust those guys. I was excited about the opportunity to trust those guys to put stuff together that was going to be successful. And the other side of that is just the stuff that we're able to do is just. The stuff that we're capable of doing is kind of unique because we do have a good front. Like our offensive line's protecting their butts off. And then just what we do with our backs to help out and our tight ends to help out, all those different things. That's a credit to Kevin, but it's also a credit to our players and things like that and all of our other coaches putting things together where we can throw the ball down the field a little bit.
All right, I got a couple of questions for you. First one, did you or are you aware of the picture that was snapped of you on the airplane when you were coming to Cleveland?
Yeah, I am. Everybody said it. I said, good. I flew home this past Friday after the game. Good thing they didn't take a picture of that. That whole, I think it was like probably 4 feet high, that plane, man. It was crazy. I was like on my knees going back to my seat on that one. But yeah, I've seen the picture.
Okay, so it's great now. It's being regarded as like the most important picture in Cleveland Browns history, like because it was. You have to understand in Cleveland. Anytime that there's somebody who has a big name, there are reports that they're looking at real estate on the west side this. But, like, that was actually real. This is one of those where it actually came to be true. You actually did come here, and now this magical story is happening. So that was that. And then this one, more football. My favorite play in the whole game against the Jets was actually the pass to Jordan Akins because of just the beauty of the play, the ball handling, all of it, and just the scheme, everything on that play. Is it fun being in an offense? Because you're clearly, you're a nice ball handler. You can that was a pretty fake right there. Is that fun when you get to do a lot of this fun kind of ball handling back to the defense and then turn around and look, my guy's wide open.
What was so fun about that play is, I was mic'd up, and if you were able to listen to the whole thing, you can hear I come to the sideline. I botched that fake up.
Did you really?
Oh my gosh! You don't come out with one hand on the ball on that like the way
we counter too, right?
Yeah, it's just not the way we've done it. And I've never really done the open hand ball fake since I've been in the NFL. In college I did it.
Okay.
But I haven't done it since we've been here. And we've worked on it a little bit out at practice, but it's not something that like I've completely focused on. It's just like, okay, it's a fake, I'll do it, And I came out. I came out from under center, and I was like, I put my one hand out, and I was like, literally in the middle of the play, I was like, what are you doing? That's not how you're supposed to do this. And I just kind of like switched hands real quick and faked it. And then next thing you know, he's wide open. And then like I go home this past weekend, and I'm sitting in the barbershop, and a kid sitting next to me, and he says, "Oh man, I just saw a video of that play action that you did." And I didn't even know what he was talking about because I'm like, what good play action did I do? And then it dawned on me, like, oh my God, I hit it wide open. I hit Jordan wide open on a keeper after the play action. He's got to be talking about that. And it's just so funny because I messed it up, and we were laughing on the sideline. Like I was like, guys, did you see that?
This is the best. I thought it was
beautiful
when you stood there still for a second.
It worked out, but man, I was just like, oh, you idiot, that was so bad.
Let me tell you something. It was obviously effective because if you watch the tape, everybody on the Jets thought it was a run.
Yeah, I played it off.
You most certainly did. Happy accidents, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
It
we
worked.
have happy
It
accidents.
all works, and this has all worked with you since you've been here. And now we have this week where we're playing a game down in Cincinnati, but at the same time, a lot of you guys are resting, and we have our eye on a much bigger prize out there. You're one of the few guys on this roster who knows what it takes to make a deep run in the postseason. How much have conversation have you had with some of the younger guys who are just, man, they're starving for this run? You can sense it, certainly.
Not a ton yet. I mean, there is still this game, so I think you don't want to jump. You don't want to jump ahead too far. Everybody's minds are probably on it a little bit, but you still got to respect the guys that are going out there and battling this week. I mean, all these games are so important. But yeah, I mean, you can see it in guys' eyes and things like that, how excited everybody is. It's an unbelievable time of the year to play football, and there's definitely something that's really special about these games. I think everybody makes it's like, oh, playoff football. It's this atmosphere. It's gonna be revved up, and you just got to do your best to just go out there and play the way you always do. And it's still just play by play, do the basic things. There are things about the atmosphere, like when you first got out there, like the first couple minutes of the game, the opening kickoff, the first couple drives, where you can tell people are a little bit more emotional about it. You know, they get themselves revved up, but usually the game settles in, and it's about doing the fundamental things the best you can do it, you know?
Yeah.
So all those things that you talk about all year, they just become more evident in the playoff games. But it's not the crazy stuff. It's the simple plays. It's just going back to the basics. Those are the things that become very evident, I think at this time of the year.
So I went through all your career game logs because I wanted to look and see if you had, prior to this becoming public knowledge, if you had ever sat going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I know you had not. One game you kind of came out after, I think, maybe 2 drives, which would be the closest thing to it going in. What's kind of your mindset that? And somebody said it best the other day. They're like, he's come off the couch in the middle of the season and lighting it up. Like, we're not worried if he's getting a week rest.
The year we won it in Baltimore, we did this.
You did do it? Okay.
I played, but
Okay.
it was one series.
One series, okay.
Maybe 2. I think it was probably 1.
Yeah.
But the mindset was very similar. I hadn't missed a game at that point, so I wanted to, I wanted to start, and that was probably the same for a couple guys. Like we just, like I said, I think we went out there and played a series, maybe 2.
Okay.
It was in Cincinnati, but the mindset was pretty similar.
And it was the year you did what again?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing I came across going through, because I have every single game log you've ever played, by the way, it's a very long list when you've been in the league since 2008. Week 8, 2008, you beat the Raiders 29-10. You have a catch for 43 yards.
I do. Troy Smith.
Troy Smith.
I think
okay.
I threw one and
Ohio
ran.
State
Buckeye,
legend.
Cleveland kid, yeah.
I think I threw one and ran one in that game, and if I got,
You are correct.
I caught it. I caught one over to my right. I guess I was running to my left down the left sideline on like a little rail route, and I caught it like kind of down by my waist and my knees, and I did one of those. I just couldn't. I wasn't upright enough, so I stumbled for like probably 10 yards, and then I think I probably got down to like the 10-yard line. But I came out of the backfield and I saw their. I'm sorry, whoever this was, but I saw their white linebacker, and I was like, you know what? I think I can run by this guy. And I snuck by him just enough, and Troy laid it right over my shoulder. But, yeah, I did have a catch that game.
All right, so have we ever – I mean, to me, it feels like if you have one catch for 43 yards on your resume, maybe we would try this again. I mean,
I don't know.
Not now.
listen, Tom Brady went out and caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know.
Once we get there.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know about that. We'll leave the
You
catching
look pretty
up to all the
spry
other guys.
on the rollout to Jerome Ford. I'm just going to say, once you tuck that
Certainly
ball,
did,
it's like a cheetah.
Yeah, this has been awesome, man. And one thing, I did a kind of informal poll among, I have 3 little boys, 12, 10, and 8, and I did like an informal poll, and like, what are you asking for? I mean, I got Flacco jerseys like 80% of the ass, and I'm going to tell you what, like, we do this show every day, year round. You could have asked me 3 months ago if the most requested Christmas gift was 15 Flacco jerseys. I would have said, you're out of your mind.
Oh,
How
my
did we
God.
get here,
He
man?
knows the
And
city's
you got to
nuts.
have that. It's got to be just surreal.
It is. Yeah, it really is. I mean, if you have like a moment to sit back and like Thursday night when a bunch of my family is in town, there's a little bit of time where you like kind of sit back and say, what is going on? You've seen a lot of things when you're in the league for a long time, but there's always things that come up and surprise you, and it's pretty special.
Did you get a chance, and I know you were locked in, but maybe once the game was clearly over, to kind of look around? There were a lot of signs about you in the stands. Did you see the one that said, "We forgive you, Joe"?
I didn't. I don't usually settle down till the clock is 0, but after we kicked the field goal to go up by 17, there was probably 3 minutes.
And Charlie
left or
Hewlett's
so.
like, wait, we got 3 minutes to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I actually did relax at that point. I was all smiles, man. You couldn't wipe that smile off my face. And I did look back around a little bit. This stadium on Thursday night was, it was pretty cool. It was one of the best atmospheres I've played in. And I mean, you guys have been here for a long time, so you guys could say better than I. But just the way that it all
That was the best atmosphere in my 11 seasons.
Just the way that it all kind of came together, like a night game to clinch, and we were able to do it. And then, it was pretty cool. And because it started from the time we came out of the tunnel, and it just never let down. Which is, like I said, it was kind of a perfect storm the way it all happened. But it was a really cool atmosphere.
I cannot tell you how much we appreciate your time. I cannot tell you how much the city appreciates you, the fan base appreciates you. Yes. This is an amazing run, man.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate them, man. It's been awesome.
It has. The great Joe Flacco joining us here in studio. I think that's it. We'll just give it
the
to
next
the next
level's
level.
next.
That's
We're done.
The next
see you
hour
next
and a
week.
half. We're not going to top that. Joe,
No.
thank you. Appreciate
Gotta go out
you.
on a high
You got it.
You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.